Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to show you the inside of what it looks like when I'm creating questions for everyone who is doing some type of an exam review for their game. I go to create question and I have a whole lot of options here. For most exam reviews, you guys are probably using the multiple choice one, so I'll show you that now. If you are doing a crossword, I think I can put the crossword in with a bunch of fill in the blank type of questions. For multiple choice, when I click on it, these are the fields that I get. So I have to put in a title. It doesn't really matter what I put in there. This is where your question is going to go in the question text. I usually just leave these options as they are default. And then for the answers, I put them in there. I select which one is correct. These will show up in random order, so it doesn't really matter to me what order you put them in. If you do bold them or anything like that, I have to unbold them and all that stuff. So usually it's best just to put a little asterisk like this in front of the one that is correct. And then there's this feedback area. So this is the part that I wasn't sure if you guys knew about. So I can give feedback for a correct response or an incorrect response. And I can put the feedback in both sections. But when I'm looking at the rubric that we've created and I'm looking at you identifying explicitly which module the question's from and providing a rationale with a reference for your questions, this is where I'm looking at putting that. So I'm thinking people are going to see the question, they're going to answer the question, and then they'll be told whether the question is right or wrong, and they will see the feedback. People don't usually do that during exams, but we do that. Now, I could put instructor notes in here. I'm pretty sure those things don't show up. But those are the fields that I have. When I'm creating the test itself, I can also put information up top, like instructions for people. I can also assign points. So for those of you that are doing games where different questions are worth different amounts of points, I was thinking I might be able to put them in here by assigning different point values to them. Sorry, I'm showing off someone's test here. Let's take a look for a second at the other options that are here. So I haven't used any of the other options other than multiple choice and short answer in the past, but I am planning to play with some of these for your midterm and or final exam. So if you want to maybe ask me some more questions about some of these other options that you we can do that. I mean, some of them seem fairly simple, and I believe they all have the feedback options in them. Now, this gamification link is where I'm going to put all the games when they're done. If I go to, no, it's not edit the test. If I go to edit test options, this is what I think you want to see. So I can force people to do it in a certain amount of time, but I wasn't planning on doing that for games. I can also allow you unlimited attempts for the games. Obviously not going to do that for the exam. There's due date option. Okay. So look, this is what someone was asking about. So sorry about that. After you've submitted your test, I can show you all the answers. I can show you what's correct. And I can show you the feedback, and I can show these are options for things that I'm not sure what this does. Oh, it shows the answers that you submitted. Okay, we'll do that. I can show you the feedback, and I can show you the incorrect questions. For a game, I'll do all that stuff. And as you can see, I mean, in your submission, you can identify what you want me to do. If you don't, then I'll just decide. But you can decide if you want it to be later. I think that probably for games, it makes sense right after submission to show students all these things. You can also choose if you want your test to show up all at once or one at a time. For a game, unless you tell me otherwise, I'm going to let it show up all at once, and I'm not going to prevent people from going back, but you can do that if you want. I was going to randomize the questions, which is why I didn't put the module headings in. The person who submitted this to me did have module headings in, but I would rather put that in the feedback area and have the questions come up randomly because I feel like that's a little bit more challenging. But if you don't want me to randomize the questions, you can tell me that. If you have any other further questions, please let me know. Hopefully that is helpful. Oh, wait, while I'm here, sorry, I'm going to show you one more thing. We have an anonymous thing in here. I made a couple of clarifications or changes to this rubric. It is finalized now. Most of the content is the same, except for I moved things to different categories, some based on feedback from people when I was marking their assignment plans. The one thing that I did that was different that I wanted to point out is under difficulty, there was some debate in terms of the difficulty of questions. Instead of saying that a question is too easy, because it is okay to have a few easy questions, I don't want any of the answers to be obvious just because of the way that the question is worded. So sometimes when you're writing a multiple choice question in particular, you can have the beginning of the question, and then just by the grammar of the beginning of the question, if your options are not all worded so that they can complete the statement, someone could guess the answer without even having any idea what's going on in the course. So that's what I mean by that. If the answer is obvious because someone has knowledge of the course, that is fine. If the answer is obvious because the way that the question is worded, it completes the sentence and none of the other ones complete the sentence, then that wouldn't be good. Okay, if you have any questions about any of the changes made to the rubric, please let me know. Inside of the assignment section, I did make one other change. So I put the gamification stuff in a folder because we're going to have two different options. Okay. I put the rubric link here. I put the midterm submission area up, and I'm going to put another one for the final. Instead of using this type of assignment where you submit and then you have to wait to give feedback, I set up a Google form for evaluation of things. And I want to see how it goes at midterm, since some people wanted to do a midterm thing. And then if I need to make some tweaks to that process, I'll make some tweaks for final. So the midterm is set up and there's going to be a final set up, and I didn't want to get the scroll of death going. So the way that this is going to work is this is an assignment submission like normal. It's not that new type of one that we're trying out for the other for the participation. So when you submit something here, your peers aren't going to see all the answers and everything to your game. I thought that that might defeat the purpose. And then depending on what your game is like, it's either going to go into the student projects discussion board, which is just in the discussion board. You can post your stuff there, or the gamification link. This you will see as soon as I unhide it. But this is where I can post your games for you if I'm programming them into Blackboard. So people who are having their games programmed into Blackboard aren't going to be able to put it in that discussion board. I think it might be nice if we put all of the games in one section, and then after you play a game, you can click on the Evaluate Games Here link, and it'll bring up a Google form. You'll identify which game you're evaluating, and then I've given you the ability to provide feedback on all of the different areas of the rubric. You don't have to. The one that I really want you to do is the peer feedback one. So if you just want to select what you think, make sure you select the game that you're talking about. So we'll just go like that. Then I'll be able to look at that when I'm doing the end grades. There's also a section here if you want to give feedback to your peer, or if you want to give some feedback to me about this whole process. Okay, now I think I'm done with that. If you have any questions, please let me know.